Oh yeah, we're on. Well, this is one way to christen the 2050. So much room to fish on this deck. What a day. Right, you can go home.
Welcome back, folks, and cheers for joining us. It's been epic getting the new 2050 Supercab out into the hands of Staby owners and hearing about their personal Staby story. The last stop on the tour is the iconic Marlborough Sounds and the most fishing action of the tour. Special thanks to Regional Ford and Gore for lending us their Ford Ranger to help us tow this beast around the country. Now it's time to meet our next owner.
Hi, I'm Jason Anderson and welcome on board my 2100 Supercab. So the plan today is to sort of show you my 2100 and take you out wide to go and target some kingfish. They're my favourite fish to catch, mainly for the versatility. You can just catch and release and take what you want home type of thing. But to also have a go in the 2050 and sort of see what I think of it as well, which is quite good to compare it to my current boat when it's only half a foot smaller, to really see the comparisons and the pros and cons of each boat. So my first thoughts on the new 2050 model is quite surprising really. Like your first looks at it, you go, well, the cabin's so far forward. I sort of thought it was going to be like hard riding, but I was like surprisingly, I guess, pleased with it. Like it just handled beautifully. I took it over some wakes and waves and so on, and it just cut through them beautifully. The way it drives, it's literally like you're on train tracks. It's just on rails the whole time. So stable. And then chucking it in reverse, like that just blew my mind. Like this 2100 is awesome in reverse, but the turning capabilities in reverse, it's not so great when you compare it to the new 2050. That thing just turns awesome in reverse, which I think that's a bit of a game changer, to be honest. So yeah, the interior of the 2050 is massive. Like I hopped on board, and when I was at the helm, I sort of felt like I was in like a go-kart or maybe driving a van or something, and then you turn around and you just see all the space, like a flat deck truck behind you. Like you could easily fish 6 lads comfortably. There's just so much room. And then the little steps and the gunnel, that's a great innovation. Like we currently use either the chili bins or the back sort of seats, but yeah, I think they're awesome. I'd probably put them in here, I think. And then inside the cab, like even though it's pushed forward, there's still plenty of storage. Like there's storage all in the gunnels, all up the front. To me, it's the perfect day fishing boat. Love this shit, eh? Oh yeah, we're on. Oh, he's singing this one. Woohoo! Well, this is one way to christen the 2050. Oh, there they are on the surface, just chasing bait. We'll release this one, eh? He's a good fish though. Whoa! Give up, mate. Yeah. We'll just let him splash around, wear himself out. Oh. Woohoo! good. Just over a metre. Yes. Ah, good, mate. That's epic. What a day. Right, you can go home. Woo!
We'll have more Kingfish action shortly, but next we hear more about Jason's awesome 2100 Supercab, and like a lot of keen fishos, Jace films his trips and puts them online. Check out his YouTube channel, Real Adventures with Jace, if you want to see more of his adventures.
So our main use for this boat is, it's usually a day fishing boat with the missus or the lads. But the missus and I also love doing overnighters on it, which it's perfect for 1 or 2 nights. We've got the drop down clears for night time. They keep it pretty warm, but also during the day when we're cruising and it's a cold day, it keeps the cabin closed. I do prefer the open cab for fishing, especially when you're on the helm for those kingfish drops or trying to keep that line straight for the snapper and so on. So my favourite features of my Stabicraft would have to be the bait station and the live bait tank. Like that is just perfectly set up for fishing. Like we even use it when we do overnighters, like it turns into a bit of a sort of barbecue bench as well, the sort of chopping board and so on. So it's so versatile, but I just reckon it's perfectly designed. And then like the ability to have sort of my 2 most used leader sizes right there ready to go with full rolls is just awesome, especially when you lose a fish. You don't have to get your tackle bag out or anything, you just quickly grab it and easy to rig up. So having the foam filled pontoons and then the carpet lining up the front is really good for especially overnighters. We find it like really quiet when we're parked on the mooring, and then also the added benefit is when you're cruising it's quite a bit quieter. Like remember the first time I took Dad for a day's fishing on board. He'd been on a lot of other aluminium boats, and like his very first opinion straight away was just how quiet this boat was while we're cruising along, or just at rest like we are now. So yeah, it's awesome. So my favourite memory, I can't really give you one, so I have to give you my top 5. Sort of one of them, it's not a favourite memory for fishing, it was more our second trip on the boat. We decided to take the dogs to the, cruise around the Sounds and park them on a beach for a picnic with the paddle boards, and we'd unloaded the boat, and then I was sort of beached, and I was blowing up the paddle boards, and then all of a sudden I just felt the boat tip to its side, and I was like, oh no, we're sort of a bit dry here, but there's still water around us, and we were high and dry until just after midnight. So we got stuck on the beach for about 6-7 hours. So that's sort of 2-hour beach picnic. Sort of turned a bit longer, and we had to sort of light a little campfire because it started to get a bit chilly and so on. So yeah, that memory's, good and bad, I guess. But I've never been high and dry since. Probably, there's a heap of fishing ones. Another really good memory is, my partner catching her very first kingfish, which actually ended up being 26 kilos. And then me trying for about 3 or 4 other trips to try and beat that 26 kilo mark. So I managed to get the same length, but mine only coming at 24, but still it's my biggest kingfish to date. So that's a great memory. Another one would be this year, 2022's Derville Island Fishing Comp. 4 of us lads went out for 3 days fishing, the comp for 2 days. And we ended up taking out the comp, which I've attempted this 3 times now. So that was a pretty cool feeling, especially when we didn't catch anything massive. We just got all the species, and we got all sort of very good average size species. And we were done by like midday on the Saturday in the comp. I think last weigh-in was 4 o'clock, so we were pretty wrapped. Another real good memory has to be towing the boat up to Barve Islands for 2020 Christmas, and just fishing around there. As we've seen all online and stuff, there's just wicked snapper fishing, and my very first drop, I landed a 20-pound snapper, which was my first 20-pounder, so that's always going to be a memory that sticks. But probably my favourite would have to be towing the boat up to Waihau Bay and targeting the southern bluefin tuna. And the first day we got there on the Friday, I think it was, we were out in like 26 knots of wind trying to troll, and this was the very first time my partner had been game fishing, so it wasn't really the best introduction to it. And so we got up early the next morning and we were trawling for about 7-8 hours. We ended up with a double hookup and landed 2 southern bluefin tuna, releasing one and keeping the other, and I'd probably say that would have been my top memory.
Yeah, they're chasing it.
Got it! No way! There he is. Oh! Yeah, cool. Wicked.
After a massive day and some great fishing, 2 kingfish were caught, bled and put on ice and kept to feed friends and family, and then proving just how small New Zealand is, we got back to the boat ramp and we bumped into commercial spear fisherman and good friend of Staby, Hunters Club and South Sea Spearo member Tim Barnett.
Yeah, I just come in from work and the boys here were, had this 2050 at the ramp, so I thought I'd come out for a quick spin. But yeah, first impressions, it's pretty punchy, it's pretty cool. Straight off, straight into fast. Yeah, turns on a dime, and that backing feature is pretty cool as well, eh? So manoeuvrability for in amongst the rocks for me is quite important, so yeah, it's definitely got that. And you've got a shitload of usable space in it, so yeah, for your fishermen, divers, stuff like that, it's pretty cool, isn't it? Have a little more play, eh? Yeah, it really gets up quick, eh? Okay, I like it, eh? Might have to give me one. Good, yeah.
We've got some big adventures planned this year with all sorts of Stabicraft models across the globe, so make sure you subscribe and like our pages to keep you up to date. And if you're a mad keen Staby owner, send us a direct message on our Facebook or Instagram if you're keen to get involved and share your Staby story.